Back in the early to mid 2000s, there was a page on the internet that I used to go to a lot. That website back in the day was called stickpage.com. The short videos like Safety at Work, which had the first JoJo reference I remember on the internet, Counter Sticks, one of the weirdest representations of the game Counter-Strike. And one of the most popular stick genre type things on there was stick fighting, where stick people would perform martial arts with each other, while my personal favorite being the Shock series. It was a sign of its time. Since Flash is slowly going away, looking back at these stick Flash games and movies made me realize that we're slowly losing them. A lot of these websites' contents weren't being backed up, or when they were backed up, they were at a bad quality. These were made for a time where PC browser games were all the rage. Why am I talking about this? Well, this is because I'm talking about One Finger Death Punch and Stick Fight the game. These games were gifted to me by that one Game Boy who spent $124 on One Finger Death Punch, and Katamari who spent $2.49 on Stick Fight the game. Since both of these games are based on stick martial arts in a way, I put both of these into one video. So let's begin this double review starting off with One Finger Death Punch. So One Finger Death Punch, originally released for the Xbox 360 indie game marketplace, is surprisingly simple, but very addicting how basic the game is. It has its charm. The main gimmick of the game is that there's only two buttons to use. If you use the mouse, the left mouse button is used for your left attack, and the right mouse button is used for your right attack. There's also controller support like the original 360 release. You use the X button for your left attack, and you use B for your right attack. And if you play on keyboard, it's the B key for the left attack and the N key for the right attack. It's my preferential way to play the game, for a specific reason I'll mention later. The real challenge of the game isn't the controls, it's the reaction time you have with enemies they sent you. From multi-hit enemies to enemies that switch slides that are all thankfully color-coded when you attack them, it's a challenge. The big issue with me is that I kept treating it like a rhythm game, and I kept getting my ass handed when I either went too fast or the game slowed down and it threw me off, and I usually end up to my death. But once I got over that hurdle, the game began to put me in a trance where I became weird keyboard dance with only two keys. It's a very strange feeling, but a very good feeling, honestly. I can recommend the game just for that. But I can tell it could be rather frustrating to a person who is lacking in fast reactions. The modes in the game are rather simple, and for a game that's really cheap, it makes sense there is. There's levels mode where you go through stages defeating a certain number of enemies and certain conditions, like heavy rain mode where enemies are the same color and you need to look under them to see what kind of enemies they are, instead of relying on the colors like regular mode. You go through these stages enough to fight a boss, where all it is just a regular mook battle, where it just goes left and right. The main challenge is to keep an eye on what side he's going, and when he's going to do it. It also has its bonus missions like Lightsaber mode, my personal favorite, and Nunchuck mode, where all the enemies die in one hit, and you just have to go through until a certain amount. You also have some challenge levels where you can take no hits to pass, so you have to play perfectly. After levels mode, you have survival mode. There are three versions of survival mode, all of them being how long you can last. In the beginning, you only have the first mode unlocked, which is just standard endless mode, where different variations of enemies come at you until you die. Once you survive long enough in survival mode, it changes to both lightsaber mode and nunchuck mode, where you can regain health. And you have to keep this up until you die. Once you have over 500 kills in regular survival mode, you unlock blind survival mode, which is like heavy rain levels, but the opposite. You can see the color of the enemy, you can't see how close they are, or how many hits they take. It's the same as regular survival rules, just one stipulation. And once you have over 500 kills in blind survival, there is No Luca No. So yes, you unlock this after blind survival. If you're unaware about No Luca No, it's an indie game that was on Xbox 360 back in the day. It was in its marketplace, which shut down back in 2017. The marketplace was really cool. It had games like I Made a Game with Zombies in it, and many more. I know the game originally from an old Achievement Hunter Rage Quit video.
Fucking feed your cat, dickhead! Luca, no! God damn it! It's cereal! You're a fucking cat! There's a pitcher of milk right behind you!
The game mode No Luca Low is really simple. It's still just regular survival mode, with just the cat Luca appearing left and right, so you have to swat it away with a mouse button. It's a really good experience, and one I don't recommend using mouse controls, especially if you use a multi-monitor setup like I do. It leads to a lot of out-of-windows clicking, and it's why I recommend using keyboard and mouse and controller on this mode. It's one of my few gripes with the game, the other big one being the announcer of this game.
You have the maximum skills active. Press A on active skills to toggle them off.
It really sounds out of place, especially in this climate, but you can turn them off in the option if it really bugs you about it. It's a game I could definitely recommend. A huge change in these reviews, honestly. And with this, One Finger Death Punch also has a sequel. I personally don't own it yet, but I did download the demo, and it's really fun. It just seems to be the same game. I highly recommend this game. Now let's move on to Stick Fight the game. Now, Stick Fight the game is a completely different game. It's a party-based game where you and your friends, or total random people, fight to the death to become the supreme victor of that round. It reminds me a lot of Duck Game, but without the one-hit deaths, well, most of the time. The game itself is very noodly. It's simple to play, and you move your character with the ASD keys and use the W key to jump. And of course, you aim with the mouse. There's also controller support where you move left and right with the analog stick, aim with the right analog stick, use the right trigger to attack, and the left trigger to shield. And both of these are mapped to the mouse respectively. In the middle of battle, there's a variety of weapons that drops like assault rifles, staffs, and snake guns. It's really fun. Once you get to a certain point in the battles, a pumpkin drops from the sky and one player who collects it becomes a boss, while the other players need to defeat the boss. And if they manage to defeat it, it becomes a standard death battle. If you get 3 of your friends, it becomes one hell of an afternoon. This game is only multiplayer, either online or offline, which is one of my only gripes. And this is another game I could definitely recommend, especially if you have friends who are willing to play the game with you. I would like to say thanks to Alex, Sirius, and Katamari, who played with me for a while. It was a fun session, guys.
Oh, I'm not going down there. Fuck you guys.
Oh, wait, hold on. Yep, I...
Oh, no. Damn,
You should go down there. You should go down there.
Try it.
You should!
You should go down there, fam. Look at those snakes. They're waiting for you, fam.
Oh. They fucking, like...
Overall, I can definitely recommend One Finger Death Punch and Stick Fight the game. Both of them are absolute buys. Check them out. I've been Fonzie. Follow me on Twitter at Fonzie's Revenge. I'm also on Twitch at twitch.tv/Fonzman. Press the like button, hit the subscribe, and I'll see you in my next playthrough, Darius Burst, Chronicle Savior. See you next time, guys.